Hey everybody, it's Wendy. Welcome. So happy you're here with me today. I have a fun card for you. I'm using the 12 Christmas stamp set, which I think should be named the Christmas Cardinal, just saying. And then I've got some early espresso, cherry cobbler, pumpkin pie, and ignore the Merly? Nope, wrong word. Mary Merlot, because I'm never going to use it. So on this card, I should say. Not going to use it on this card. So I'm stamping the Cardinal on watercolor paper. I use Arch's cold press or hot press watercolor paper. I prefer this watercolor paper because I am a really novice watercolorist. I feel weird even saying I'm a watercolorist because I'm not, but I'm so novice. So I need an extremely forgiving paper. This paper is really good because it holds a lot of water, and I will link to it below the video. It holds a lot of water and it doesn't warp and get peely where it will, the paper like starts peeling up. As you can see, I'm using StazOn ink. What is it called? StazOn ink. Okay, so I have to flip this over and restamp because my paper moved and it smudged my bird. So we're starting all over again. I'm using jet black. That's what it's called. Jet black ink. So I'm using StazOn ink because it is pigment based. So it's when you use water with it, it doesn't smear and get all crazy. You could not use a Memento Tuxedo black ink with this. It would not work because we're going to use massive amounts of water. So you notice the camera shaking. It's because I use a stand that sits on my desk. And so when I tap on that, it shakes the stand and then that shakes the video. And I'm sorry. However, I have news about that. That won't be happening anymore. Maybe by next year. And we're going to talk about that in a second. So I'm just stamping the bird over and over until I get a really nice black covered image. I'm trying to get a really even coverage as most as I can. Watercolor paper has texture. So because of that, the ink will not always go down into the little cracks and crevices. And so you sometimes have areas that don't get all the ink that needs to be there. I don't know how to remedy that situation. It is what it is. So my plan for it is to take early espresso ink on an aqua painter and go into all the areas that should be dark and start there. That's what I'm doing. So going around, adding the dark ink first, kind of in the shaded dark areas. The cool thing about this stamp is it's already shaded for you, so you kind of know the areas that would be shaded or darker. So that's what we're doing first. And then we're going to go in with cherry cobbler ink, and we are going to add that with the aqua painter. Now, I'm not a watercolorist, but what I'm trying to do here is simply have my darker color under his breast and then lighter on top. And that gives the illusion that there's sun maybe hitting him on his back, and that he is, more than Wendy. I don't know. So I'm trying. That's it. That's all there is to it. I'm just trying. So just try. Just play and have fun. If you want to know the truth, when I watercolored this the first time, this is my second go at this, I colored his beak black and I was like, this doesn't look right. This doesn't look right. So then I went and Googled it, and turns out they have like almost a reddish orange beak. So I went with pumpkin pie for his beak. Instead of black, because Wendy colored him black the first time and it was hideous. So here he is in all his glory, looking very manly and stellar. I've decided it's a boy bird. I don't know his name yet. Maybe his name will be Saint Nick. I don't know. And then we're going to use pumpkin pie to add to his beak. And then we're going to cut him out. And then I'm going to watercolor a bunch of the little like berry things that come in this stamp set, which is really pretty. And then we're going to put the card together. So let's break away from card talk and break into a little bit of story time and other stuff time. So if you follow me on YouTube or on my blog, you know I share little tidbits of my life here and there. And one of the things that we have been doing in the home that we live in is a lot of renovating and remodeling. Not really renovating. Renovating sounds like we've torn it down, but remodeling. So the scoop is this. Our house was built in 1973 by my husband's grandfather. And we purchased this house from my husband's dad. When we purchased this house, there was a lot that needed to be done to it, but we was very poor. So there was no like ability to do anything for years. Like 10 years, we didn't do anything on this house. And I mean, that's not true. We kept up on it as much as we could, but you know, like roofs need to be replaced. Houses need to be painted. We had those old single pane windows. We needed updated windows. It was like we were burning through, first of all, where I live, we have a wood stove and we are totally allowed to use it because we live in a rural area. There are some areas in California you're not allowed to use a wood burning stove. So we can use ours where we are, and we burn wood every winter. We try to use the heater actually as little as possible and use the wood burning stove instead. But we would burn through like 2.5 to 3 cords of wood to heat our little bitty house because there was the windows, just you could feel cool air blowing through the windows. Okay, so fast forward to where we are today. We have new windows. We've painted the house. We put a huge wraparound deck around the house. 3 sides of the house have the deck. We currently are putting a 6-foot wood fence around our house. So we've had field fencing, if you're familiar with what that is. It's like the big square wire fencing with T-posts. So we've had field fencing with T-posts since we've lived here. And it's fine. It has served its purpose, but it's not aesthetically pleasing to the eye, right? It's not the most lovely thing. And because some of this information is like private to my husband, I'm not going to share everything, but essentially we have a neighbor issue too. So we are, that will help eliminate some of the problems. By having this large fence, it'll provide privacy, and it's also going to help prevent some of the issues that we've been having. So, I'm always super open to share anything that's going on in my life, but if there's anything happening that would include my husband, I'm very careful not to share because he's super private. He's opposite of me. I'm like an open book, and my husband is like, don't tell people your business. So, opposites attract, you know? What are you going to do? So anyway, I probably should adopt his policy. He's probably smarter than I am. But anyway, life's too short to just be like a secret all the time. And so we are getting this fence going. We're building the fence. My husband, we aren't doing anything. My husband is building this fence, and he is a beast. I'm telling you, that man works like 80 hours a week. He works like 60 hours a week at his job, and then he comes home and he works all evening here until the sun goes down. Sometimes after the sun is down, he's still out there working. He amazes me. I don't know what in the world I would do without him. So the motivation behind all these changes is that, and like doing all this stuff, is that we would like to, first of all, his job is extremely physical. So I've shared this before, but he is a power lineman. So he has a very physically demanding job, and he's not going to be able to do it forever. That's all there is to it. So my hope and prayer for him is that he gets to retire younger than most people would retire, and that we would still be able to live comfortably. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we get taken care of a lot of the things that this house needed. So we got a new roof put on it. We got new heating and air put in. We got solar put on the house. So we have solar because our PG&E bill in the summer was insane. It was so expensive. Like, we're talking $300-400 a month in the summer. So we got an energy efficient heating and air unit. And then we also got a new roof and we vented it, and we got solar. And so the solar that we got is less expensive. We bought it. We didn't lease it. I know there's lots of options out there, but the solar that we have, we decided to pay the monthly payment. So basically we have zero bill from PG&E, and then we just pay a monthly payment for the solar, and it's less than our PG&E bill was. So we opted to not pay full cash for it at this time, even though I really hate any kind of debt. But it's really expensive. Solar is very expensive. So we were like, yeah, we'll do the payment. And it just swapped out our PG&E bill. And instead of it just going to PG&E and the money going down the tube, it's actually investing into our home. So that worked out wonderfully. Okay, so we're doing that. We did that. We got solar. We got the roof. We're doing a fence. And we've been talking about a kitchen remodel. My kitchen is really, really small and really old. Nothing's been replaced in it since 1973. So, well, I mean, the appliances have, but not like the countertops, the cabinets, everything. Everything inside our house is very dated. So my husband is more interested in what's happening outside. I'm more interested in what's happening inside. But since he's the one that has to do everything, he kind of wins. So he has been doing all these things outside, and I'm like, okay, it's time for us to do some inside stuff, because it's great that we're putting all this energy and work into outside stuff, but I really want inside stuff. So we were going to do a kitchen remodel, and we've been saving for that. And after having a long talk, we have decided that it is probably more advantageous for us right now, because the kitchen is totally usable, to get me out of the house. So we are considering options for, we have a shed. We currently have a shed that's pretty large that houses our boat. And so we are considering turning that area into my studio. And then this room that I'm in the house now, putting another small bathroom in there and making it into a little guest room, because we have nowhere for people to stay in our home and we hate that. So that would free up a room and allow us to put another bathroom in our house, because we only have one bathroom. And we hate having one bathroom. I know, first world problems. I'm not complaining about any of this. I want that to be very clear. I love our little home. But it is older and it is small, and I think it would be nice to update. So, and what better way than to invest in your home? Because there's lots of things we could go do and spend money on, but when you invest in your home, you're investing in your future, and then in my daughter's future, ultimately. She'll inherit the house we live in, and we don't care what she does with it. She could sell it, she can keep it, I don't care. But ultimately, I look at it like an investment in her future as well. So, so that's what we're going to do. We are going to focus on that. And someday, people, I'm going to get my dream kitchen. It's going to happen. Please. I really want it to happen. I just really want to open the house up, and the area that the kitchen is in and the dining room and everything, if we made some minor changes, they're major minor changes, it would really open our home up and update it a lot. But I desperately would love to have new cabinetry, new countertops, stuff like that. I'll get it eventually. I just have to be patient. So in the meantime, the good news about that is I'll get a much, much, much like 4 times, 6 times bigger office. And I hope I could actually start holding a few little classes or something in my studio. That would be so fun to have people come over. I mean, that's part of the reason I don't do anything, is because I have nowhere to do it. And I'm past wanting to pack up a whole bunch of stuff and lug it with me to an event center. I mean, I should clarify, you all know I have back issues. So that is part of it, is it's too hard on me physically. If I had a perfectly healthy body that did not have breaks and fusions, then I probably would do that and be totally happy doing it. But unfortunately, that's not my scenario. That's not my situation. So I have to be kind to my body and take care of it. And so if I could have a space that was big enough to host 5 or 6 ladies to craft with me, oh my God, I'm not even kidding. I will freak out. So we're going to see what comes of all of that. So stay tuned on all of that. There will be photos. There will be updates. I will make sure you know everything that's going on because it will be so exciting. Okay, so, excuse me. I am going to add dimensionals. You saw I painted the little berries and leaves there. And now I'm going to add dimensionals to the back of this cardinal and add him to the front of my card. And then we're going to add a sentiment and this card will be all done. I really love it. That's not true. I'm going to use gold foil leaves also because it needed a little spruce of something. So I really love how this card turned out. It is not a traditional Wendy card. These are not traditional colors I would use. They are not, the imagery, all of it is definitely different than stuff I would normally use. But I really, really love it. And I'm really into, all of a sudden, I've gotten really into making a little bit fancier cards. Here's the truth. I love making fancy cards. By the way, this gold foil paper, if you don't have any of this, pick it up in my online store. The link is below the video. It is gorgeous. And it's so good for like adding little elements like this. All the links for everything that I've used today are below the video. So, truth time. I've always struggled between doing a little bit more elaborate cards and doing really simple cards. And the reason is, I don't want somebody to watch my videos and look at them and go, yeah, I can't do that. I can't make those. I can't make cards like that. Because here's the thing. When I first started this, I couldn't have made a card like this. I really couldn't have. It's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get at it. So over time, you learn good color combinations and you learn good placement and composition, and you learn what looks good and what looks bad. And even now, I make some really ugly stuff. I mean, it just happens. Sometimes an idea in our head doesn't come to fruition on paper. It like, in your brain, it's like, oh my gosh, that'll be so cute. But then when you make it, not so much. And I totally just realized I left you guys hanging from earlier when I said the thing about the camera shaking when I was stamping, and that would eventually no longer be a problem. What I meant is when I get my new office, whenever that will be, I'm guessing next year is when that'll happen. When that happens, I am so seriously going to make it so that I have a filming area, a photography area, and I want my camera, the ability to have my camera for my videos mounted from the ceiling so that no matter what's going on the countertop, there's no shaking of the camera. That's my goal. So you just gotta make do with what you got at the time, right? So for now, I'm making do with what I have, and it's great, and it works, and look how beautiful this card is. What I have sure doesn't hinder my ability to make pretty cards. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was long. I hope you had a cup of coffee or a glass of wine while you watched, or a soda or a glass of water, whatever it is you need. And I'm using Wink Stella over the bird as my very last step, because why wouldn't you have a shiny, glittery cardinal? And then this card is going to be finished. Oh, you know what? That's not true. I did decide to use crystal effects and add it to some of the berries so that they would be a little bit dimensional, and it just added a little extra pop on this card. So that's my last step. I did get asked if the card that I made with the snow globe would fit in an envelope. No. Well, yes and no. It will fit, but it's very stretched. So it is my goal in the next couple weeks to make a video showing you how to make an envelope that is thick enough for cards that are thicker, like this one or like the snow globe one. Now, I have to say shout out to Bev Meeker, who asked me to do this a really long time ago. And it's one of those things where I've struggled figuring it out without using a punch board. And so it's on my to-do list to do this week, because yeah, we need one. We need a thick envelope, a big that will hold thicker stuff. So I'm going to make that. Okay, so now this card is all the way finished, because I added the little, unfortunately it's very hard to see my little details that I added, but they are very pretty. Thanks for tuning in. Shop with me at shoploveandstampin.com. Take advantage of my special offers. They're over on my blog, and I will catch you in the next video. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye.